So the home is hurting, and when the home hurts, it hurts. You know, somebody called me from Argentina, asking me if I can explain what exactly happened and who Charlie Kirk was. And I said, it doesn't matter who he was. Go check, 7 million followers, people who like him, people who dislike him, that's not the point. What I did like about him is that he gave you the mic. And you could say something different. Actually, this is what Jews are doing for 2,000 years. This is the Talmud. You have a page in the middle and a lot of open microphones on the sides. And the rabbis never dared to shut the mouth of the other. Even when they disagree, they say the minority, the opinion of the minority should be in the text. Maybe that's why when you go to the Beit Midrash, nobody asks you to learn the Torah by heart like in other religions. Learn opinions. Learn to debate. So when I don't know exactly what to do, I call my teacher, Rabbi Farber, and ask him, what should we do? And I came up with an idea, and I say, one person in the bima will not represent the country hurting. It's a night for dialogue, because this is what's missing in America. So I don't know what will happen in the next 5, 6, 7 minutes. I have no clue. Which I do know is that I call my rabbi to come and share the bima, and maybe have a couple of questions among ourselves. Tomorrow, there will be a class, and it will be called, How Do Ideological Opponents Learn to Live Together According to the Jewish Sources? But let me start with a question, Rabbi. Why do you think that the rabbis left open the mics of the other rabbis? What's big about that?
First of all, I think it was unique. I don't think it existed in any other tradition at that period of time. And I think they did it in order to be able to hold the community together. They knew they could not have one mind, one approach. They knew there would be dissent, disagreement. Then you have to decide, since that's human nature. That's human nature. There's never a unanimous opinion. They had to decide, do we want to push those people out and just hold on to those who agree with us? Or do we want to make what we call today the big tent? And I think they decided they wanted the big tent. And that is what has kept our people strong and together for all these centuries, in spite of the machloket, the disagreement that we are always in about some of the most incredibly important issues that face us, but we stay together. It's unique. We never had Catholicism, we never had the war that took place between Catholics and the Protestants. Literally a war that took place. We never pushed people out. We argued, we fought, but we always held the community and the people together.
You still believe that Jews are in that state?
The vast, vast majority, yes. I think we're in danger of some not speaking with the others, of disconnecting. I think we see everywhere in the world, Israel here, Western Europe, we see the inability to dialogue, which is exactly what happened. And that was the attack. It was an attack upon dialogue. It was an attack upon conversation. It was an attack upon learning from each other. That's why he was killed. And so today we do have Jews who are negating the legitimacy of the Jews. And that's extremely dangerous. It's dangerous here in the American Jewish community, and it's dangerous especially in Israel.
So what can Judaism offer to the vast America to start the process of healing? Do America want to heal?
Yes, I think Americans, in the largest percentage, are deeply offended by what happened. I think they're even scared of what happened. There was one girl who was interviewed, and they said, were you there? No, I wasn't there. But you love him. You always wanted to hear him. Yes. Why did you go? My mother wouldn't let me. She said it might be dangerous. Okay, we've reached that point now where people think about whether they should go to a certain event because of the possibility of that event being so controversial that violence could break out. Right? So no spectators, no participants were killed. But when Trump won the assassinations, somebody sitting there was killed. We sometimes terribly forget about it, but a man was killed sitting there attending a political event. It's unacceptable. I think most Americans are reaching the point of die, enough. Rav Lachem, you've gone too far, and I think that people will start to rally.
Now, as you know, like I know, the Talmud described that there are two different controversies.
Mm-hmm.
The one for God's sake, Shem Shamayim, and the other one like the Korach. Can you tell us the difference between the controversy for God's sake and the controversy of Korach?
A controversy for God's sake is that we have a dispute and we're trying to figure out what is best for the community. What is best for the nation? Not what is best for me specifically or my family or how will this advance me. So that's for God's sake, right? We disagree on what's the best path to go down as a family, as a community, as a synagogue. I mean, there's been interesting disputes at board meetings if you've ever been able to be at one, right? But if that person sitting on the board is trying to do what's best for the synagogue, you listen carefully and you learn. You may disagree, but you listen and you learn. But if you suddenly realize what they're really trying to do is advance themselves. The whole reason they're involved in the debate is because they need an outcome that will benefit them, their family specifically. And so when a politician is up there trying to do what's best for the country, and we disagree, but we appreciate them. But when we realize this has nothing to do with the country, this has to do how can he or she advance her political career and her power. That's a dispute that is not for the sake of heaven. And that was a different. Korach just wanted to fight with Moses so he could replace Moses. That was his goal. It wasn't for the better of the community, it's for Korach. But other disputes amongst rabbis, what's the law? That's to try and find what's the best path for the entire community.
It's very interesting that in the Talmud, when they discuss the relationship between Shammai and Hillel, they were two big yeshivas, very contradicting each other in spirit of understanding the law. Just give you an example. One believed that Shiva is 7 days of 24 hours. One believed that Shiva is a shtikele from this day and a shtikele from the last day, and this is the law. By the way, how many synagogues or shuls or Jewish organizations do you know called Beit Shammai? None, because he was very strict. Everyone is Bet Hillel. Schools are Hillel. In colleges, Hillel. The one who is flexible continues. But you know what? They marry each other. Mm-hmm. When he brought a girl from Bet Hillel, he says, wow, what a beautiful, tell me about your family. He didn't say, no. Is this still happening in Jewish life?
They're still marrying each other. I don't know if they're eating each other's homes, right? Because when you brought that, I thought of there are people now who, this one keeps kosher, this one keeps kosher. This one keeps kosher a little bit different than that one. Buys here, this one buys there. It used to be that people ate in each other's homes. They could argue about this hashkacha, that hashkacha, but they still ate and eat. Maybe I won't bring that hashkacha into my house, but I'm in your house now. And they talked, not only Hillel and Shammai married each other, they ate in each other's homes. We've seen where that doesn't happen today. And you and I both have experienced how devastating it's been to families, how it's broken families.
I do know how it breaks family. I also know that both of us share the same advice, which never fight for a ritual.
Mm-hmm. Right.
When your son comes and brings a position, say, we don't fight for ritual. What do you need from me to do to accommodate your needs so we can be together? Mm-hmm. I once learned, and I want you to bring this moment to a close, people laugh when we say 2 Jews, 3 opinions. Mm-hmm. They laugh. I don't know what's so funny, but they laugh because it means that Jews can never come to an agreement. I learned a different to understand that. To Jews. Let's say Farber, Rojzman. Farber says A. Rojzman says B. But when Farber heard what Rojzman says, oh, maybe it makes sense. And when Rojzman heard what Farber says, so comes opinion C. 2 Jews, 3 opinions. The third one is the one that really is the big opinion, not the one who silenced somebody with a shot in the middle of the chest and left a widow and 2 children and then hurt America. So some wise teaching so people can go home.
That's how we reach compromise. The rabbis always sought a path of compromise. And you know, sometimes the argument got heated. And they looked and they realized, am I really sure? And this one said, am I really sure? Is this worth it? And they came up with this great idea, which we call, in the modern way, we call it, table it. We'll talk about it another time. Instead, they said, wait until Elijah comes and he'll tell us the right answer, which means this argument is not going to be solved and it is not worth the damage that was done, so push it out, push it away. And that's another way they preserve the community, by simply saying, we can deal with that later. And they walk away in order to prevent destruction of the community.
So most of these people come every Friday night. So I want to tell them something about you. Like 20 years ago, I came to Rabbi Farber and I say, you know, I grew up in Argentina and we only pray with music. We don't understand services without music. And you have a 6 p.m. service without music and something is missing for me. Let's do the following, he says. I will do 6 without music. You do 7 with music. My 6 p.m. will die and everybody will come to yours. And then I have dinner with my grandkids. And this is called vision. So if you have a service with all these musicians, it's because of Rabbi Farber, not because of me. Just to understand the logic of thinking how you build and you don't discharge. And not because you are the senior rabbi, you say, later. We'll see. Maybe there, but not here.
It's good that it was about music and not soccer and football, because that would have not ended well, right?
This is true.
So let me ask you one question. How this Jewish culture of disagreement, agreeably, that's what we say today, we'll disagree agreeably, which is, as you beautifully describe at the Talmudic page, right? You go over Rashi, and then Tosafos tells you why they don't think exactly Rashi got it right, or this one says, that's what Rashi means. And it says, no, you're not reading Rashi correctly. And that becomes an argument. Then you go to the back of the Talmud, and there's another 2 or 3 centuries of commentaries who are trying to settle the arguments of the generations before. That was invented. The Jewish people created that discourse. So how can that culture of disagreeing agreeably, of dialogue, and of actually seeing the value in the dialogue so that I can grow because I didn't see it from that perspective, how can it help in Israel today?
Wow. I thought we were done with my phenomenal anecdote. So I think in Israel there is one group who has the responsibility. It's not the government, it's not the generals, the rabbis. The rabbis need to go to every yeshiva and says enough is enough. They need to go to all those dressed in beautiful black and say, if you are not a genius, you go and serve. Because this is called Horat Shah. This is the urgency of the time. Go and defend. You know better than me that these beautiful modern Orthodox ladies with this, I don't know what they call it. They knock on the door of the Haredim women and they say, I'm a widow already. Oh, you have a man, send him to fight.
Right.
The internal situation will change if those groups who have their leadership, not from the secular throwing stones in the street of Tel Aviv and saying, no, prayers in, that's not the point. It needs to be from the rabbis, the ones who were clever to write a page of the Talmud and give open mics to everybody. Those are the ones who need to go the change. It will never go by force. It will go. So let's pray that they have the wisdom. Sometimes when I come to this beautiful building, a Tuesday, and it's pouring, and you have a beautiful couple getting married outside, and it's watering her dress, but she cannot enter the sanctuary because it's conservative. You say, wow, what is God feeling? What is God thinking? I say, maybe the next generation.
Yeah.
Maybe their kids. Maybe.
And I think we
Maybe.
just said gives extra meaning to that very important warning that the rabbis warned themselves. The rabbis knew what their power was, and they knew the danger of misuse of that power. It even scared them some. That's why they said, Talmidei Chachamim, Hizaharu b'divreichem. They said, Talmid Chacham, you, the rabbis, the educated ones, be extremely careful, Hizaharu b'divreichem, with the words you use, because the power of the rabbis' words, particularly in Israel, is incredible. And I think you're right. They could lead the way, because even the secular Chaver Knesset, member of parliament, when a rabbi speaks in the name of Torah, they'll listen if that Torah is one of compromise, rationality, logic, and most of all, love of the nation. They'll listen. And that may be where it has to come from, because it's not going to come from the politicians. You're very right about that.
And the idea of dialogue worked very good for us for many, many years.
Yes,
Maybe for many,
absolutely.
many more. Shabbat shalom and thank you.
Shabbat shalom.
Oh, yeah.